Meeting order. It's crazy. Roll call, Jalen.
Commissioner Sanchez?
Here.
Commissioner Gandy?
Here.
Commissioner Butcher?
Here.
Commissioner Campos?
Here.
And Mayor Trujillo.
Here. Commissioner Sanchez, lead us in prayer and pledge.
Heavenly Father, once again, we come before you, thanking you for this day, asking that you would be with us during our city meeting. Help us in the decisions we make, Lord, that they would be good for our constituents, good for our city. Father, we just want to thank you once again for all our hardworking employees, city staff, city manager, our commissioners. Thank you for the work they do. We ask that you would bless each one of them in their efforts. And Father, we thank you for this country, the freedom you have given us. May we never, ever forget what it costs to keep us all free. And Father, thank you for our department heads here, everyone for the work they do. Once again, we just ask you to be with them and to bless them in their efforts. In the name of Jesus, thy Son, we pray.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Do we have another motion?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for consideration of minutes of June 24, 2019.
I'll second it.
Motion made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Put on to Commissioner Staff reports. Wyatt?
Mayor, Commissioners, just want to say happy late 4th to everyone, and hopefully you guys have a good time with your families. As you can see, mini construction is going on right now. Trying to hopefully finish up. I know right before Fair and Rodeo, 2nd Street and everything should be done, all the CDBG, so they should be finalizing those projects up. But other than that, I'm open for questions.
Any questions about the board? Commissioner?
I have a question, Mr. Mayor. Any idea of I talked to Ramirez and Sons, and I think they've got their issue fixed. But any idea when they might come out and actually do the fixture on Main Street?
On Main Street, I have yet to contact Philip, but I will tonight or first thing in the morning to ask them. I know they're still laying asphalt out there at the League Fairgrounds, and so he should be able to pull this one in with it. So hopefully before Fair and Rodeo, we will get Main Street fixed.
I did talk to him last week, and he did mention they were waiting for a job over here, like at the county, at the fairgrounds, to be able to just come over and dump whatever they had from that mix. So I think if that's taking place, I think we can get it done fairly quickly. If you don't mind just checking up on that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions about the board?
No.
Gary?
Your mayor and commission have nothing new to report this evening.
Any questions from the board? Jalen?
Nothing to report, sir.
Commissioner?
I have nothing.
Commissioner?
Just want to give a shout out to all the city workers that worked on the 4th at the park, law enforcement, regular workers, everybody. You know, everybody did a great job. It was a good turnout. Appreciate y'all's help, and I know Leslie does. Thank you.
I'm good. Commissioner?
Speaking of the 4th, I want to thank the Lovington Fire Department. We had a couple of small grass fires right in front, right next door to our house. But we called them, and they responded very quickly, put the fires out, and so I was very impressed with them. Gene Bolton, Bolton, I think he was one of the drivers, and I don't know the other gentleman's name, but I'll get their names. But I do want to write a letter of appreciation to them because they're very professional and prompt in what they did. So I appreciate your department, Chief.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Commissioner?
Just a couple things. I really enjoyed the 4th of July fireworks. I got to view it from a bird's eye view. I stole some of our equipment at the yard and watched it from 65 feet in the air. And the community had a really good time with the fireworks. It was a pretty outstanding show. I had a concern over by the new fire department. In the alleyway, there's either a water meter or something that's extremely high. I talked to James about it earlier, and there was some concerns about traffic coming down there and knocking the differential out of their car or something like that. There's some height adjustment needs to be made or something like that on that. And then I guess we discussed with James earlier that the contractor we had doing the signs needs to do a little better signage, better job on their signage, because right there on Commercial Street, when you come off of Highway 18, they didn't have any workers ahead or anything like that, and they had that little intersection where they're putting the new sign up. They had trucks out in the intersection, and it wasn't a safe situation, I didn't think, so I did mention that to James earlier today, but other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Chief?
Still the same, I appreciate it. No, sir, I don't have
The other's
Sounds like you
vacation.
just got promoted.
I just said, the other's vacation chief, I just did. Chief?
Whatever you want.
Nothing new, sir.
James?
Oh my gosh, okay. So what Chief Lizardo and I were discussing is we're going to start offering tours on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the new fire station for the public. We'll have a 12:30 time slot, or 12 o'clock time slot, a 12:30 time slot. We're limiting it to 8 people per tour, just mainly for safety reasons. We have issued some press releases, but anybody who's interested in walking through it to see the progress, just call the chief here at the fire department at least an hour before the tour. Of course, if the commission needs to make other arrangements, we'll be more than happy to accommodate you, but just want to try to get the public out there and show them where their dollars are being invested. We also will be receiving on behalf of the city of Hobbs, they're going to be donating 8 golf carts to us. They're replacing all of their golf cart fleet at Rockwinds, and I talked with their acting city manager and wanted to know if we could perhaps get some of those that we could utilize for special events. And the city commission approved that, I believe, last Tuesday to transfer that equipment. So we're very appreciative of that. And then as a reminder, on next Monday, the 15th, we'll have our special commission meeting to review applications for this city clerk opening. It'll be at 5:30, so we'll have a closed session and have the ability to come out and take action after the closed session to determine who you would like to interview. That's all I have.
Any questions about it?
So far, do you know how many threw their name in the ring?
I don't have an exact number. I'm still,
The wheels are still turning?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Patrick?
Nothing to report, sir.
Thank you. All right, moving on to public comment.
I'm Leslie Balt with the Chamber of Commerce, and I just want to publicly thank the city of Lovington and all the departments that were out there for the 4th of July. So the police department, of course, and Chief Lizardo with his fire department. I know that you had a super busy day. And Bernardo and his department with the streets. And of course, George Aranda out there with his crew. We saw each other passing about 8 o'clock, and we didn't even want to talk to each other. So he turned his head, I turned my head, but we had such a great turnout. And Crystal is here. She's one of the volunteers. She did our cardboard boat race. So the city employees that were working, and also all the volunteers from the city, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other comments by the audience? All right. Okay, moving on to action items. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for approval of ordinance 570, authorizing the execution of a project participation agreement, providing funding to the Lovington Economic Development Corporation facade and infrastructure improvement grant program within Zone E.
Second.
Had a motion second, Commissioner Campos. Yes, sir.
Mayor and Commissioners, if you recall, last month we discussed this. The EDC would like to have a grant program over the next 3 years where we provide up to $50,000 to the EDC for this particular program, where it would mimic the behind the facade and facade improvement program that Main Street has been doing for the past year or two. This would allow individuals, commercial businesses within the new Zone E to apply for this funding to help bring their properties up to code and also just improve their appearance. This would just be administered by the EDC alone.
Any questions by the board? Had a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to consider approval of ordinance 571, authorize the execution of a project participation agreement providing funding to the Lovington Economic Development Corporation for economic assistance for a market analysis, planning, recruitment, and development program.
Second.
Had a motion second. James?
Yes, sir. Mayor and Commissioners, this ordinance has been advertised as required. This will allow funding for the retail recruitment and analysis. This will continue that agreement for 1 year. This is an agreement between Retail Strategies and the Lovington EDC.
Any questions about that? Had a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion, resolutions 2019-079, approval of fiscal year 20 first quarter lodgers tax funding.
Second. Had a motion second. James?
Mayor and Commissioners, this particular resolution will authorize the funding for our, actually should be our fourth quarter lodgers tax for first quarter. So if you look at the funding recommendations, each project was awarded as recommended by the Lodgers Tax Board. Total cost would be $9,500. This is below our quarterly budget, mainly because the strategy that we utilized last year, or last fiscal year, our third quarter is usually the most heavy event. We also have some pending major expenses that are being paid for by the Lodgers Tax Fund, which mainly is the remaining half of our payment for the signs, which, as Commissioner Gandy brought up, they are installing those. Those will be installed by the end of the month. But we want to make sure that we preserve our cash balance in that particular fund so we can continue on. But it's our recommendation that the Lodgers Tax Board total funding for the quarter be $9,500.
Any questions by the board? Had a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Do I have a motion?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2019-080, approval of additional temporary street closures for Live on Love Street concert, July 20th, 2019.
No, that's it. Second.
Had a motion second. James?
Mayor and Commissioners, if you recall back in April, we did approve street closure permits. Those are highlighted in blue, which included Avenue A from First Street all the way to Love Street, a portion of Love Street, which would be essentially at the drive-through to City Hall up to the alley between actually Central and Avenue A, as well as a portion of Main Street. The event has grown, and they are requesting additional closures, which would incorporate more of Love Street all the way up to the intersection of Washington and Love, as well as Central between Main and Love and Washington between Main and Love. It'll have a car show, live music, but the main reason for the additional closures around the courthouse is our local disc golf players are having a urban tournament with portable baskets. And in order to accommodate the additional pedestrian travel, these additional closures are necessary. One thing that I did ask is that according to, since we are closing a portion of Main Street, this does not affect the detour routes that the DOT has already approved.
Want to say anything more? Jeremy?
We're just really excited to be able to team up with the State Line Disc Golf. They've kind of done all of their aspect of it. We're just helping them market it and hoping to get more people out there. Like James said, it's not going to be actual food vendors or anything out there. It's just in case there's any flying discs, people don't get injured. And that was at the request of Police Chief Rodriguez. It does not affect any of the Main Street closures, and we're really excited. We have 4 live bands. The car show's still going on. We have 3 breweries, 1 winery, and lots of food vendors.
Any questions by the board? And a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. We have a motion?
I make a motion that we consider accounts payable.
Second.
Gary?
Your mayor and commission, I'm available for any questions if you have any.
Gary, our teacher fire department, 13,000? What is
Yes.
it, or chief?
Yeah, we could turn that over to the chief if you'd like.
Yes, sir, that's a replacement hose and extra spare hose that we didn't have. Also, I believe, 10 pails of firefighting foam as well.
Did we get a discount on that equipment? Do you know, straight up?
Yeah, they go off of the Albuquerque state price agreement.
Okay. But we just happened to get it from our teacher fire, is that correct?
Fire and equipment, yes, sir.
Okay.
Casco Industries, 14.5.
Also one of mine.
Yes, that's also another fire.
Casco is our bunker gear supplier. So that's 4 sets of bunker gear, 3 sets of extrication equipment, or bunker sets, and then some helmets.
You guys are having Christmas in July.
You done to either spend it or lose it, is that what you're trying to do?
Federal Eastern International for 10,000, Gary.
Okay, the Federal
What is
Eastern
that?
International, this is something I would love to ask the police chief for, but essentially the notes that I have are just safety equipment for the police department.
You know, Lieutenant, what that's about?
Could possibly be the SWAT gear.
Don't quote you on it. Impact Construction Plus for 28,000.
Again, I'd love to turn this over to the police chief, but this is
You're on the
related
spot.
to the police evidence facility.
Okay.
Final payment on that
Okay.
construction.
Okay, very good. We're paying the county $11,000. Was that for, Gary?
That's for our contribution for the fair and rodeo.
Okay.
Lodger's tax.
I see we're buying some new vehicles also, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Fire, police, for both.
Well, the first one, let me see, which was the first one that was on here? Anyway, one of them was for the sewer department? No, water department. Yeah, go ahead, Wyatt.
Don Chalmers?
The Malloy Chrysler Dodge is actually for the sewer department, and Don Chalmers is a replacement of a patch truck, 3/4 ton,
Thank you.
11-inch.
So, Pat. deflect though. I would love to answer that question, but
I've learned
after,
to have more detail.
Mr. Gandy, good?
I'm good. It was.
Okay, and a motion second, all in favor?
uh,
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Do I have a motion?